breaking news is what you just said, so I'm curious. I want to hear them. What are the breaking news coming from the BC farm?
Well, it's really incredible because yesterday I broke the news that Katie and her mom had their charges dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And it was incredible. I was the first one out with the story. I called Katie in the morning and she said, "Guess what, David? The charges have been dropped." I said, "Oh, thank God. That's wonderful news." And of course, went on air about that. And a couple of other people reported it later in the day. Then I called Katie this morning because we're working on a couple of things. And she says, "You wouldn't believe this." She says, I'll have to put this gently. That information was relayed to us incorrectly. When we read it ourselves, it was clear the charges weren't dropped. The charges had yet to be assessed. And I said, "What? They don't know what they're going to charge you with?" And she says, "Not only that, they have a full year to find out what we're charged with. So they can go through all of our social media. They can go through everything that was said during the occupation of their farm and say, oh, looks like we got you for mischief here. Looks like you talked that RCMP officer out of hand. Looks like you might have impeded the activity of the CFIA inspector." All of this crap. And of course, they did absolutely nothing of the sort. But you watch them accuse them of it. You just watch that happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Obviously, I'm not suggesting this is something that's inevitable. But the way things have gone for this poor family at this farm, they have had their farm steamrolled, and it looks like the only thing I can describe it as, have you ever seen the leftovers from a Roman, how can I put this? Actually, the best thing I could say is that in the aftermath of the assassination of Reinhard Heydrich in 1942 in Czechoslovakia, the Nazis decimated a town that they accused of harboring the alleged assassins, and they mowed the whole town over and they salted it in the same way that the Romans used to salt the fields of a conquered enemy. And this is exactly like what you can see at Edgewood today. There's just bales of hay strewn everywhere. There's hay all over the place. They have just literally knocked everything over and left everything in a huge pile. And no, they haven't salted the fields, but they might as well have, because, of course, there's debris everywhere. And this, of course, was supposed to be a biohazard cleanup. And this is what just kills me in this whole operation. It was done with such incredible gross incompetence. And I had a veterinarian on the show last week to talk about this. And he said, I can't get over how grossly incompetent this exercise was. Everything about it. They didn't know what they were doing. They made a mess of things. People were working with bare hands, no protective gear on. They just literally threw the bodies of these ostriches into bins. They overloaded the trucks. The contractor that brought the ostrich bodies to God knows where, we think half of them at least are still in Surrey, BC, at a super save location. They weren't even authorized to carry this kind of waste. Every conceivable law was broken, regulations, rules, neglected, ignored in this whole procedure. And yet, who's getting charged, or who might be charged in the next 12 months? The owners of this farm, who have been left with literally nothing except hay in their backyard. That's the only thing the CFI left them, was a pile of hay and bales of hay that, of course, they can't give to anybody because they're contaminated. Nobody wants this hay. So what are they going to do with it? A landfill won't even accept it. And it is so outrageous what's happened here. And once again, this was an exercise in government punishment of a farm that just didn't want to knuckle under. And clearly, as Katie said to me today, this has always been about getting the research we did on these ostriches, stealing the research, and ensuring nobody could verify that these birds had developed herd immunity, because that would not work out for the big pharma program of the Carney government. That would not play into their narrative. So there's a twofold scheme going on here, Nico, and it's still going on in the cover-up that they're trying to work out right now. This is a subservience to Big Pharma and their vaccinations. And it's the research this farm did with the ostriches, with the antibodies, with the herd immunity. CFIA wants to steal that. I believe that very, very much. I think that's what this has all been about. But God knows somebody should be charged, fined, and somebody should be going to jail in this whole process. And it should not be Katie and her mom. They should not be charged for a damn thing. It should be the CFIA that disregarded every basic law that they possibly could, from violating these animals with cruelty, with neglect, with near starvation levels of food, not giving them water, attacking them, assaulting them, lassoing them, and then finally shooting and massacring them with over 1,000 rounds of ammunition. This was a heartless, inhumane, inhuman exercise, and the aftermath has been appalling. And when Katie told me today they have a year to find a charge, we both said the same thing. God damn, it's Tamara Leach and Chris Barber all over again. What do you bet? What do you bet they find some incidents of mischief? And
of course they will.
Means in Canada now, well, the Crown can call for 8 years for that. So this is appalling. And this is, I'm bringing this up tonight, and everybody who applauded yesterday, I know Chris Dacey, who's been on that farm for I think probably 2 months now, he was second in line with that story yesterday. He got that story out. A few other people did. And everybody was just uproariously happy about it. Well, I'm sorry, folks. It turns out that that's not what the Crown decided to do. They decided to give the cops a year to investigate these poor people, to find something that they might have done. And it's, once again, it's a kangaroo justice. We know kangaroo courts. We know what show trials are. We saw that with Tamara Leach and Chris Barber. This is kangaroo justice all over again. And I tell you, it's enough to make me sick.
I've said this so many times, but the process is often the punishment. So even if they do not get charged with anything, the fact that they have to wander for a full year is a punishment in itself. Just like 2.5 years for Barber and Tamara Lynch. People are taking that for granted, but can you imagine every single day that you wake up, you're like, man, is it the day I'm going to jail for X number of years? Because that's a reality. And Canada, you can debate this until you're blue in the face, but you'll never convince me that you're correct. Canada or the Liberal Party has weaponized their justice system. So they are literally using our justice system and bureaucrats like the CFIA to muzzle people, and the process has become the punishment. It doesn't even matter if you're punished, if you get a sentence anymore, because 2 years, 1 year is a long fucking time to be waiting for your faith.
It's a long time. And Katie and her mom could still be on the hook, not just for the legal expenses incurred by the CFIA during a year-long wrangling, but they could also be on the hook for the costs of the occupation from the hay bales onwards. And this is why, if you look above my head there, that's an ostrich sticker. I'm selling 5 of them on my merchandise for Stand on Guard. All proceeds, not profits, all proceeds are going to Katie, her mom, and Dave Belinsky, the farm. We're also putting hoodies out, and I'm doing that until Katie can take this operation over next week or the following week. But in the meantime, we're trying to capture the outrage and the excitement and the absolute disbelief from so many Canadians that this has happened. And I'm taking the lead in it right now until Katie and her mom can take it over. But I have such respect, appreciation, admiration, love for this family that I'm prepared to do this right now. And like I said, I'm not going to take a cent from the hoodies with this logo emblazoned on it or the 5 stickers what we have out there. They're all going to help fundraise. And I'm working with Katie right now to do a fundraising video because she needs to do this. Otherwise, they're going to be absolutely ruined. at this point. And I think it's the least we can do as good Canadians to help people who are really in need because of a ravenous, out of control, crazy federal government run by Marxist Carney. And here's a nice segue for the next topic. And thanks to Pierre Poilievre, Marxist Carney is going to remain prime minister.